G'day and welcome to another episode of Tidbits from Rod. Today we're going to be talking about my Newmar Dutch Star 2018 4018 model. We recently traded it for our 2008 country coach down in Tucson just after Christmas. Spent the winter down in Arizona, and while we were sitting in Phoenix, my daughter noticed there was a water leak dripping from the back of the coach, just dripping underneath where the def door is. So stay tuned on this one, because finding this water leak was pretty tricky and fixing it was even harder. So I call it my water leak from hell. So here we go, stay tuned and hopefully you learn something from this one. Here's the back of the coach, it's in the garage. Let's show you where this def door is. So the def door is this one here. It's right below the emergency exit, which sits behind the toilet. As we open the door, you see this rail up here, and there was water dripping out of this. It was also running down this frame rail and dripping on the floor. So stay tuned, I'm going to show you where this was coming from and how I fixed it. So on the 4018 you've got this emergency exit door behind the toilet, and that toilet is right above the frame, and I'm figuring, well, it's probably coming out the toilet. There's a hole where they cut it out and not centered the pipe in it and sealed it, but you can see a little hole, and I put the boroscope down there to see if there's any ink coming out on the toilet. Nothing. Okay, so that was one bit that was dismissed and taken out of the equation. So as we come down, into the rear bath, I started thinking, okay, there's a heater, aqua hot heater, that sits underneath the washer dryer. So these two vents that sit on front here are pinned in with brad nails. I don't know why I didn't screw them on or velcro them on, but you've got to pull them off, and you've got to be very careful when you pull them off. So going in the back, I put a boroscope, nothing was leaking down there. Check the washer, because the washer sits directly above it. I ran the washer. Nothing in the washer, nothing in the washer tray. No aqua hot fluid leaking out of here. Okay, let's pull the back of the shower off, because when we bought the coach, the miser control here was burst. Obviously the previous owner unfortunately couldn't have winterized it because it burst, so they replaced that for me. And I'm figuring, okay, can it be the shower? I didn't want to pull the shower apart just yet because it's a lot of work. And by the way, this is a little tray shelf. Taking it out is a right pain, a serious pain. It's gooped in with so much goop. You've got to be very careful taking it out. Cut round with a very thin Stanley knife and make sure that you don't cut into this panel. But you can get it out. And when I managed to take it out, I put a boroscope down the back. By the way, that's what it looks like down the back there. I put a boroscope down the back there, no water. Okay. That was my thought, that they might not have done this up properly and it was leaking. Nope, that's not the case. Okay, let's run the shower. The only way I can get to that shower is in the bedroom. There is another heater vent, and take the heater vent off, is my boroscope connected. And way up in the back you've got that trap for the shower. Way There. So I started running the shower, nothing, and all of a sudden there it goes. And I'll add the boroscope picture that I was taking. So there's a boroscope, and if we pull that back just a little bit, let's get it lined up there. That bright part is the water. You can see all the water that's been dripping off down there. Yeah, you can see the water drip. Now it's not dripping now because I've shut the shower off, but that's the boroscope, and that's the trap, and it's that connection at the bottom of the shower where it goes into the shower tub. To hear that boroscope view, you can see it dripping with the shower running. And I spoke to Newmar. The only way you can get into that trap is you have to take the heat exchanger out. Now, I don't want to drain the system and I don't want to put air in the system. So you've only got so much room where these pipes allow you to pull this thing out. So I've got to try and jerry rig this up out of the way, and I put my arm in here and I can just about touch that trap back there. There. So stay with me. I'm going to try and hang this up without scratching the mirror or scratching the wood and see if I can get to that trap. Here's the trap and all the drain parts cleaned up. What was causing this to leak is this was cross-threaded onto that underneath. You can see where the seal hadn't seated properly. So what was happening, this thing, when they put it on and screwed it on underneath, they cross-threaded this so it was sitting at an angle and not sealing, just leaking. That was the cause of this leak. To get that thing out, it's pretty tight up underneath here. There's not a lot of room. I have to do it blind. I can just about get my arm up underneath there. Now we want to get this back in. By the way, this trap looks like there is a bottom part of the trap, the lowest part, which is here, so it sits this way. Okay, let's get that in. Okay, that's it all back in. You can see it. There's 6 connections on this tube. That's it's a bit hidden at the moment, but up here there's 2 connections, and then you've got the black trap which comes into the water trap, P-trap, flat P-trap, so it's not really a P-trap. There's a connection on that, there's a connection on the other end, there's one here and there's one here. Lots of connections that vibrate loose, and this thing vibrates. So when you're going down the road, you've got this thing vibrating, which will eventually loosen, could loosen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a block of wood underneath this, underneath here, to stop that vibrating. There's a block underneath that waste pipe, just to stop it vibrating. I've used silicone sealant to stick it to the floor and just put a bit on top, hold the pipe still, so now that pipe's not going to vibrate, which will be good. Okay, tested it, no leaks, which I'm really pleased with. Put the cover back on, and that we'll call that a jobbed. Anyway, I hope that helps you out, because to get to the bottom of a shower when it's leaking on this Newmar Dutch Star, it's a nightmare. And if you've got short arms, unfortunately, not being funny, but you're never going to reach in to find it. So Anyway, I hope you don't have the same issue as I had. Let's say trying to find that with the leak dripping out of the frame on the opposite side of the coach was a bit of a nightmare. But there you go. Stay tuned and hope this helps somebody.